Welcome back to Care of the Common Game. Today, in deck number 661, we're going to talk about Vorinclex, the Monstrous Raider. 6 mana, 6/6 trample haste. Don't forget the haste part. I've actually played this deck once, and every time I cast Vorinclex, I forgot about the haste. Anyway, if you would put one or more counters on a permanent or player, put twice that many of each of those kinds of counters on that permanent or player instead. That's why we're playing it. The upside is if an opponent would put one or more counters on a permanent or player, they put half that many. Now, in the 2 games I played this, I did not play against another counters type deck. So Vorinclex really didn't have got spot removed once, but that was it. And that's just because it was a 6/6 trample on the board. But there are some crazy shenanigans you can do with it. Now, before I get into the usual suspects here, I have it sorted out by categories here. Now, obviously, +1/+1 counters is a huge thing. We'll save that to the end of the theme part. But I am most proud of the other counters. Now, unlike probably all of y'all, the very first thing I thought of when I saw Vorinclex was Thalids. Yeah, I know. I don't know how to dream big, okay? So, Thalids, because every upkeep, they're getting a spore counter. Now they're getting 2 spore counters. You can make saplings twice as fast. I didn't go real deep with the Thalids, though, Thorn Thalid, because some of them are just, suboptimal. I like this one. Now, Fungal Bloom, 2 mana for 2 counters, hey. And then Sporoloth Ancient makes all your Thalids have 2 to make a sapling instead of 3. So now we're talking, now we're cooking. And then the Spore Sower Thalid, hits every single fungus. Puts 2 counters on every single fungus. Right? Then, of course, the Colony Heart Expedition, there's quest counters. That's the only quest counter I used. I read Replicating a Ring, and I was like, a night counter? Okay, sure. A night counter. We have a Contagion Clasp to proliferate stuff. But one of my favorites here, charge counters. Yeah, Power Conduit. And I love the fact that Power Conduit works with charge counters or +1/+1 counters. It's beautiful. So you can actually, even if it's just the same, you take 1 counter off, put 2 counters on. It's beautiful. Core Tapper, tapping to put 2 charge counters on something. We're operating under the assumption that Vorinclex is in play, obviously. Golden Urn, life gain's not the thing about it is Golden Urn is not going to draw a removal spell. It might get caught up in a Vandal Blast or something. It's collateral damage, but I don't know of anybody ever, I don't know. Probably happened. Banshees Blade, another charge counter, but the beautiful charge counter card is Magistrate Scepter. Because why not, right? So, yeah, this doubles the speed. Well, no, it doesn't quite double the speed because you need 3 charge counters. And we're only doing even increments. So, anyway. Then we have the dreaded Infect, the poison counters that we're putting on players. I only got 3 cards in here. The Glistener Elf, Finn the Fangbearer, he's the only Death Toucher, so he's, and then, Phyrexian Swarmlord, for what it's worth. Yeah. I don't understand why this card does not see more play. At the beginning of 4/4 Infect for 6. At the beginning of your upkeep, you get an Infect token, insect token, for each poison counter your opponents have. This card was made before the taking over of Commander, but this is a perfect Commander card because you don't really want to auto poison one person out. You want to get as many poison as you can on a lot of people. That way, boom. Yeah. With that being said, let's get into the +1/+1 counters. We have Rite of Passage. You know, if they take damage, they're going to get a counter. Now 2. Ifa Grove. This is an old one. This was one of those cards that violated the whole, the very first card that +1 counters have to be on a creature. No, fam. Ifa Grove. Yeah, that's really good. What are you getting, like 12 counters out of this? Whew, nice. Titania's Chosen, of course. Whirling Dervish. Yeah. If it dealt damage to an opponent, it gets a 1/1 counter. Comes down early enough. I've had a lot of good memories with Whirling Dervish. Avenger of Zendikar. Boy, those plant tokens can get out of hand quick. Forgotten Ancient. Scavenging Ooze. Pentavites. Now, I realized that with Pentavites and Vorinclex, all I needed was something like an Ashnod's Altar to have like infinite counters or Pentavites. But I didn't put an Ashnod's Altar in here because that, yeah, I'm not entirely sure that that's a good use for an Ashnod's Altar, to be honest with you. And besides, it's not clever doing infinite things with Ashnod's Altar. It's been done. Fertilid to help out that ramp on the +1. Now, Scrounging Bandar. I had this in play, and I almost didn't put it in the deck. But at the beginning of your upkeep, you can move the counters from it onto another one. So it comes in with 4. So during your upkeep, you move 3 that becomes 6. And then I was bouncing them back. Spike Feeder. I was moving it from the Bandar to the Spike Feeder. And then moving 1 from the Spike Feeder to the Bandar, now becoming 2, just, yeah. Granted, I was only doing that because I had nothing else to do with my mana. I hear that Walking Ballistas are pretty good +1/+1 countersink. We have the Stump Squall Hydra. If we just, we do have a trampling commander. Hypocrisite. Because, And by the way, apparently this is the super secret tech. I was getting in. Hypocrisite got in for about 14 damage to that game because nobody wanted to kill it. Slurk. Now, Karstoderm just outright. It's a small downside for a 4-mana 10/10. Right? Now, granted, we are playing some artifacts, some Nombo action there, but I could not ignore the 4-mana 10/10. Speaking of those artifacts, the Artbound Fiend. The reason why I chose the Artbound Fiend is because of the moving thing, and every time you move, it doubles because you're putting counters on a new thing. Clockwork Dragon. Yeah, this is pretty much, part of our high end, and with a 12/12 artifact flyer that you can pump. Yeah, okay. Let's see, Wirewood Scourge. Then just random +1 counter stuff, Strength of the Pack. You don't kind of love it when it's just 2, but when it's 4 counters on your team, looks a lot better, doesn't it? Ancient Animus, Invigorating Surge, Hydra's Growth, Snakeskin Veil. That's that's the counter nonsense. Of course, we have a Sylvan Scrying to go find our Karn's Bastion. Now let's get into our normal categories of ramp. You know, we are mono green, so we're doing it, right? It's the Finhorn Elf, Llanowar Elf, Elvish Mystic, Karametra's Acolyte for our creature ramp. Rampant growth, and then, you know what I'm talking about. Sky Shroud Claim, Explosive Vegetation, Ranger's Path, 3 visits, Cultivate, Roiling Regrowth, and, I mean, a Soul Ring and a Mox Diamond. Why not? Harmonize and Double Meat, Double Cheese is what's going to round out our card draw. Removal-ish with, you know, Naturalize Acidic Slime and Return to Nature. And I've got 3 others here. Heroic Intervention is an amazing Magic card. I would use it in every deck where it was legal had I had enough copies. This is just amazing. And I figure this is probably, as far as mono green decks go, this is probably one that needs it. Primal Bellow, because sometimes you can just get that surprise commander win and then overrun, because, I mean, we're playing green with creatures, right? Our 3 non-basics, not much here. The Rogue's Passage, Slippery Car, cycle it away if we don't need it, and Myriad Landscape. And that is Vorinclex. Yeah, that's right. I tried to use as many Mirrodin basic lands as possible. I know probably Scars would have been better or whatever, but yeah. But as usual, the deck is on Architect, number 661, starting a new road. I like it. I'm going to have to move these boxes because they're kind of in the way. This is, if you will, that stack of boxes there are the 6 boxes y'all have seen me go through. So that's what those are. Yeah, it's a bunch. Anyway, I do appreciate y'all watching. Y'all let me know what you think. But right now, we're going to shuffle and cut.